Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Nice breezy July afternoon here at the ballpark as the Cubs welcome in their NL Central rivals from Pittsburgh, the Pirates and the Cubs in game one of a three-game weekend set. Cubs at 42 and 43. 4.5 games out of first place. The Pirates playing better baseball as of late. They won their last three in Philadelphia, but they played last night and did not get into their team hotel until around 1:30 this morning. It'll be Eddie Butler for the Cubs, Trevor Williams for the Pirates.
You know what that is? It's a little fan with a little fan.
That's right.
Get a little pregame nap in. Working over the binky. Got the quality lid working. Our first quality baby of the day right there. Could be a good day.
And if you're looking for historical context, 10 years ago the Cubs went into the All-Star break trailing the Milwaukee Brewers by 4.5 games. So they can just kind of stay where they are, not fall further back in the standings. Regroup going into the second half. Still a lot of baseball to be played. Just over 50% of the division leaders going into the break have gone on to win their division. You don't want to trail by 5 or 6, though. It starts to get a little more difficult at that point. We know the Brewers are in New York playing the Yankees this weekend. Game one will be later on tonight. Now the Pirates Southwest starting lineup, the versatile Adam Frazier in the leadoff spot. Josh Harrison, an all-star for the second time in his career. Andrew McCutchen, we just talked about him on our pregame coverage. He is sizzling hot. Josh Bell has had good career numbers against the Cubs going back to his big league debut. John Jaso got off to a brutal start, but much better here lately. Polanco had 4 hits last night. Cervelli recently off the concussion DL. Jordy Mercer's been swinging a hot bat as well, and the pitcher Trevor Williams seeks his first hit.
How about we check in with the Cubs defensively? We'll find Kyle Schwarber in left field, Ian Happ, the center fielder this afternoon. Jason Hayward is in right. Addison Russell at short. Ben Zobrist second. Corner man are Bryant and Rizzo. Victor Caratini gets the start behind home plate today, and the Lexus starting pitcher is Eddie Butler. Lexus experience amazing. 10 starts for Butler. 4-3, a 4.18 ERA, 47 in the 30s, allowed 43 hits. You'd love to have a much better strikeout to walk ratio, but it is what it is. He's punched out 28 while walking 24. Does not generate a lot of swings and misses. Losing pitcher last time out against the Reds in Cincinnati. Eddie went 3 2/3, allowed 5 hits, 4 runs.
This is the umpiring crew we had for the makeup game against Milwaukee yesterday. Gary Cedarstrom, crew chief from Minot, North Dakota. And away we go, foul strike.
The marketing campaign there is why not Minot?
Yeah. The only matinee in Major League Baseball. Everything else later tonight.
This Pirate Club, 12th in the league in runs scored. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They don't hit for average, but as Len mentioned, better lately. And you look at the profile of some of their hitters. You know, they don't strike out a lot. They take walks.
Popped up in his shallow right. Zobrist calls off Hayward and puts the clamps on the first out. 77 degrees with a north wind at 14 miles an hour. That breeze feels really good where we sit. I would imagine the pitchers will like it as well. And here is Harrison playing third base today. Mostly second. He can play the outfield as well. Former Cub farmhand Josh Harrison, and he skies foul out of play to right. Dylan Floro is here. He's in the bullpen today. Jack Leathersich sent back to Iowa.
Jack made his Cub debut yesterday, and the first time he had pitched in the big leagues in a couple of years, and really struggled. You could kind of see that transaction coming with the short start from Montgomery. A little extra help in the bullpen needed.
Cubs are 4-5 against the Pirates. 0-3 here at Wrigley, 4-2 in Pittsburgh, as Rizzo will take it to the bag. McCutchen. I've used the term before, there's no place like home, and I guess for McCutchen, in terms of his major league career, it's not only in a Pirate uniform but also playing center field and batting third, and that's what he's doing again. He started the year playing right, but then Marte got suspended, so he went back to center. Late May, moved down to 6th in the order. Got blazing hot, player of the month in June, hitting over what 380 here in July, and he's back up batting third.
Yeah, he's back to being the Pirates' best player again. And when Marte comes off the suspended list on July 18th, the plan is to return Marte to left field and leave McCutchen in center.
Hurdles Club 40-46, 4th place, 7 games back. Ball and 2 strikes on McCutchen. Here it comes. It's low and maybe inside. Martini back at the plate, making just his 2nd major league start. Right changeup. Look out, Joey Cora had to duck out of the way at third.
4-pitch mix for Butler. Fastball, curve, change, slider, and that's his usage. Excuse me. He'll use the curveball, changeup, slider in that order more frequently. He'll sit right around 93 miles per hour. Gets pretty good arm side run on a 2-seam fastball.
Bell waits on deck. Just underway. That one drilled out into deep left, and it is off the wall. McCutchen trying to make second. He's going to be safe. He just got in. I think he and everybody in the ballpark, including the Cubs TV broadcaster, thought it was a home run off the bat. But it kind of dipped right before it got to the
yeah, he smoked
wall.
It. You know, it was hit hard enough. It was hit just a little top spin maybe. And he continues to swing a hot bat. Yeah, he's kind of peaking a little bit. Then has to find that extra gear to make sure he gets to second base. Otherwise, he would have been accused of lollygagging. And nobody wants to be a lollygagger.
Don't know if the wind affected it. It was not hit high. It is blowing right against where that ball was. Now, does Clint Hurdle want to make sure that that ball didn't take a tricky carom? I think so.
I think he thought McCutchen was out at second base. He wants to send a message to his superstar.
That would be a first.
That would be old school.
I am challenging the safe call at second. No, I think it's.
I want my guys going hard down the line, and if they don't, by golly, I want them out. Yeah, I don't.
Be a crew chief review on a border call, just to make sure that ball didn't go in and out of the basket. I don't think it did, but I've been wrong before.
No, it's at the bottom of the basket there where the ivy and the basket come together.
The general rule is that the ball bounces down out there, it hit the front of the basket or the wall. If it bounces up, it is in the basket and therefore is a home run.
Easy call, fellas. Moving along. Here we go. Beautiful day to play ball. You know, maybe with the fan reaching over, and that's the other. We were surprised once this year when a fan reached over and caught a ball because we thought it was impossible. And the fan did, so maybe that's what Clint was thinking, that the fan perhaps reached over and deflected it.
And switch hitting Josh Bell. Homered last night in Philly, knocked in 3, and the Pirates win.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the Pirates. I just think as this kid continues to develop, I think there's a lot more in there. He's not hitting for average, but he has tremendous power. He hits the ball on the ground a lot. So I think with some swing changes, start to drive a little bit more, get a little more loft. There's some potential huge home run numbers there for him. Polanco's starting to show signs of turning it around. They're getting Marte back here early in the second half. I mean, obviously it has not been a good year for the Pirates. They're 7 games back. They're 6 games below 500. But in this division, just about anything can happen.
Starting today, their next 10 games are against the NL Central. You can make up ground quickly when teams ahead of you.
Switch hitter. This is his better side.
And he walks. And here comes John Jaso.
It was a leadoff walk that got Eddie into trouble in his start in Cincinnati. He had actually pitched 3 scoreless, but then did not make it out of the 4th. Leadoff walk to, I believe it was Scooter Gennett. He's kind of unraveled from there.
Jaso got off to a terrible start, but eventually turned it around. Reading some comments from his manager, he said he was amazed that Jaso changed nothing during his struggles and gave him a ton of credit by sticking with what he knows works. Clint said, quote, "This is the first man in 40 years of professional baseball I saw change nothing and just stay with it." So some guys will change their shoes, maybe their hairdo.
I'm not changing that hairdo. It's going to be the last thing he changes.
But he trusts what he does.
Yeah, well, he hasn't changed during that tough stretch, but he has changed drastically his approach at the plate. He was an extreme ground ball hitter. He's hitting the ball in the air a high percentage of the time now, so he's obviously bought into this launch angle revolution. I haven't dug real deep into it league wide, but as I just kind of look at different guys around the game, he's the most extreme example of that when you look at ground ball, fly ball rates last year to this.
Well, maybe there was just an adjustment period for him
that's
early in the season to get to where he needed to be.
If you're going to make that kind of a change, you have to commit. You've got to give yourself a lot of at-bats.
Not an easy guy to get chase all over the place. Butler needs to make a quality pitch.
Promptly hits the ball on the ground.
But foul. His mantra is every ground ball I hit needs to be foul.
Fair in the air.
Yeah.
Foul on the ground. Well, and in their ballpark, left-handed or right-handed hitting power really gets suppressed with that big left field. But if you're a left-handed hitter and you can pull it in the air and down the line, you can do some damage there with a long ball.
Well, who said baseball is not a contact sport? As catcher and batter got together there. And the runners will get a head start with 2 outs.
Well, this is a push comes to shove situation, and normally Jaso pretty patient.
They're loaded.
Pretty easy to take that one. Not really close enough to get him even to flinch.
So 3 on, all this happening with 2 outs. And it's Gregory Polanco, the right fielder. Big night last night. 4 for 4. He's hit in 6 straight. And he bats with the bases full.
Well, yeah, and this is another guy you circle on your Pirate roster who could be a real difference maker in the second half.
Don't want to let this inning get away from you. Pretty quiet start. He got Frazier and Harrison in fairly quick order. Took 6 pitches to get the first 2 outs. He's made 19 since. These 2 clubs have been battling as National League opponents since 1887. Up about 2,500 meetings. Fouled away.
Cubs could not get Pie Trainer out.
Well, McCutchen, Bell, Jaso. 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Butler's 1-2 pitch is popped foul, and again the wind will push it to the seats.
I tried to slip that fastball by him, 94 miles an hour, a little running action. I think Caratini wanted that ball in a little bit, maybe up a little bit more. Trying to get the swing and miss. This one flattens out a little bit on Eddie. The one Caratini had in mind was more across the letters there. We've seen a lot up there. It might be a good idea to go down below the knees.
And he got him. Foul tip, strike 3. His first strikeout. And the Pirates leave the maximum on base. Cubs coming up when we return. smart. Feels like we say that every other day or so. Their Southwest starting lineup. Ben Zobrist will be the leadoff man this afternoon. Bryant, Rizzo, Happ 2 through 4. Schwarber his second game since coming back from AAA. Hayward with his third since returning from the DL. Caratini the catcher, Russell the shortstop, and Eddie Butler the pitcher.
Pirates defensively, John Jaso, he got a lot of starts at first base last year. This is his 9th start in left field this season. McCutchen in center, Polanco plays right. Harrison, a versatile guy. You find him the second, third, occasionally in the outfield. Mercer every day is shortstop for the Pirates. Josh Bell, the big guys at first. Francisco Cervelli behind the plate. And the Lexus starting pitcher for the Pirates this afternoon is Trevor Williams, 3-3 with a 4.67 ERA. Lexus experience amazing. Bottom of the zone guy, pitches to contact with a running, sinking fastball.
Switch hitting Zobrist takes low right on cue, and the leadoff man is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. If Zobrist gets a hit, Binny's will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. That is a strike.
Yeah.
It's 1-1.
It's 1-1, but maybe the first one should have been the strike, the second one a ball. But anywho, let's just have the knack. That was the changeup, so that comes out of the hand looking much like the sinker. The fastball is going to be 92, 93. That changeup at 85.
Big dude, 6'3", 230. In on the hands and throw. Binny's helping out the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Zobrist with a leadoff single.
Mercer didn't know what to do with that ball. It looked like when you're walking down the street and you get a deer fly or a bee coming at you, you don't know whether to swat it, run away from it.
The awkward contact caused an awkward maneuver by the shortstop.
It's kind of a funky little tweener he had to deal with.
Well, Chris Bryant missed the cut. It's Justin Turner on the final man vote for the National League All-Star team. And so Mike Jessica, great work on Twitter trying to get people to vote. We'll have a nice 4-day break. All is not lost.
And now that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it, if a spouse went on Twitter and said, "Please don't vote for my guy. We got plans. We're going to the beach. Oh, yeah. Vote for him if you must."
Pause by Williams, a pitch foul to the top of the screen.
Shot upstairs that time, and for a guy who does like to sink the ball, he's not running a particularly high ground ball rate, but I think that's normally what he's trying to accomplish. This is actually a rematch. Williams and Butler, they faced each other in Pittsburgh back on June 16th. The game the Cubs ultimately won 9-5. This is their fourth look at Williams this year. A couple of relief appearances early, and then that start in June.
Hooked on the ground, tough play. Harrison on the barehand, he throws it away, and it goes out of play. Single for Bryant and an error on Harrison, and the Cubs have him at second and third with nobody out.
A real nice play on the move here by Harrison to barehand that ball, and obviously if he had to do it all over again, he would have just hung on tight. With Bryant going down the line, that's a very risky proposition. Even an accurate throw is not likely to get him.
No way.
It's one of those deals, you got to know how far you travel to get the ball, you got to know the pace of the ball, and you got to know who's going down the line.
Nice hand for Anthony Rizzo. 4 for 8, 2 doubles, 4 walks on the homestand. And fouls away for strike 1.
He's been rather beastly for a while now. 9 out of 16 with runners in scoring position over the last bit. Been doing a lot of work to the alley and left center of late.
Just about any old contact will give the Cubs the lead here.
Get one in, get one over with a ground ball pretty much anywhere on the infield except for Harrison there off the third.
Williams hails from San Diego. On to Arizona State. Debuted in the big leagues last year. His 1-1 was hit foul. Heartwarming story about his debut last year. It was a relief win against the Cardinals. Big celebration afterwards. His dad Richard was battling lymphoma. And at one point was told he didn't have long to live, but made a pretty miraculous recovery. Richard is from Chicago, grew up a huge Cub fan, so I would say mixed feelings, but probably not. When it's your son, you're rooting for him.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Strike approach. Couple inches up off the knob. We're more inclined to shoot it the other way here. A little bit into survival mode. He knows contact is so important in this situation.
Another 1-2 on its way, and oh man, he may have gotten lucky there. 2-2.
Oh, he made a pitch. He made a dandy of a pitch. Understandable that Rizzo wouldn't bite at that one. It's just you take the pitch, put yourself in the hands of the umpire. I hope you live to get another whack. That would be the litmus test, right? The world's greatest fan. Say you grew up in Chicago, you're multi-generation, you know what I mean, generation Cub fan, and your son is pitching against the Chicago Cubs in Game 7 of the World Series, and they haven't won one in 108 years. Are you still pulling for your kid?
I've got a comp for you for this pitch. It actually happened. Another good take. 3-2. There have to be family members of Jason Kipnis in Northbrook, Illinois, who are huge Cub fans, and he almost hit a game-ending homer in Game 7.
I was thinking about Kipnis as I laid out that scenario. I was thinking of the pitcher, you know, starting pitcher for Game 7.
Second and third, nobody out.
We'll make it our poll question, even though we don't do poll questions.
Popped up. And Cervelli in foul ground makes the catch. So that's a big first out for Williams.
Yeah, a big on a couple of fronts. One, that he got it, and two, that it was Anthony who's been so good in these situations. fall to the youngster Happ, and then Schwarber if Ian cannot get it done.
A little friendly nudge from Cervelli. Here's a pitch to Happ. And he fouls out of play. Pittsburgh native. Only Giovanni Soto is hit more homers before the All-Star break as a Cubs rookie. Gio hit 16 in 2008 when he won the Rookie of the Year. 12. It's 0-2.
Probably have to hit about 35 in the second half to be the Rookie of the Year with what Bellinger is doing for the Dodgers. But it's been an impressive show for Ian Happ, who has one of the best at-bat home run ratios in the game. With those 12 home runs and only 171 ABs.
Inside, 1-2. Well, Butler's jam was with 2 outs. Williams with nobody out. And then got Rizzo to foul out. And he's ahead of the cleanup man Happ. That is caught. Safe at second. Boy, nice play by Bryant. We're taught to freeze on a liner, and in his case, he had to scramble back. Well, and he moved the other direction, and that's an inning ender.
Yeah, especially with the ball behind you. You know, the instinct is to go when it's hit behind you, and he was able to slam on the brakes and scramble back. We talked about the foot speed when he went down the first baseline, but you know, quick reactions too, quick first step for such a long fellow. He said poetically.
Reaction as Kyle Schwarber's name is announced. Second game back from the minor leagues. Batting in the 5th spot, 0 for 4 yesterday. Well, his best at bat was his first. That ended in a strikeout when he was trying to call time or ask for it. And couldn't get it.
He did a lot of damage on his rehab assignment. He did strike out a lot down there as well. Yesterday was a couple of punch outs and a couple of rollover ground balls to the right side.
Don't want to let him off the hook. 3, 4, 5 coming up. Second and third, nobody out.
Yeah, well, the Pirates aren't playing as extreme a shift as we saw yesterday with the Brewers on Schwarber, where they had 3 guys on the right side and 1 in shallow right field. And, you know, he's only hitting $168, so you can't put it all on the shift, but he's lost a lot of hits, ground balls to the right side of the infield.
2-1. High stress pitches have already been thrown by these 2 starters. Butler in the top of the inning, and now Williams here in the home half. Cold foul. Just foul.
This is the kind of inning, if you don't score, it can be demoralizing. It's funny if you go up and you just go out 3 up, 3 down, you don't think much about it, you just go play. You get second and third, nobody out, and fail to score. It's a little bit of a gloomy atmosphere in the dugout.
This will be the 55th pitch combined in the first inning. It's a 2-2 and a check swing bouncer fielded by Williams. He'll throw to first and he finds a way out of it. We're reeling him in, but he got off the proverbial hook. No score. Chicago is presented by State Farm. Interesting first inning. No runs were scored, but both teams with chances. A combined 5 left on base. 0-1 to Francisco Cervelli.
Pretty good looking pitch.
Nothing for 6 since returning from his second stint on the concussion DL. Two and 0.
This is year number 3 for Cervelli in a Pirate uniform. 6 or 7 years with the Yankees, primarily as a backup, much exclusively as a backup in New York.
Over his head, leg kick, now a pitch, and he swings and misses. 2-2.
Moved along with that swing. That was, we got in at 2 o'clock in the morning swing right there. A little slow and long. Well, he's had a nice career. Lifetime 276 batting average, 359 on base. Does not hit for power.
Like a lot of hitters, keep his feet still between pitches, and I believe he stepped out of the box after every pitch, which
very, yeah, when he catches, he's very animated.
Yep. Three and 2. Mercer next. And a base hit. Leadoff single.
Pretty good approach on that fastball out away from him. Tries to pull it. He's likely to ground out to short. But he didn't try to pull it. Not right with it.
Right, you know, we talk opposite field all the time. You hear hitting coaches, managers speak of it. I'm not saying you don't pull the ball.
No.
But if you try to pull that pitch, that's a 6-3 ground out.
A lot of times it's what you're trying to accomplish in any given at bat, depending on the situation and depending on who you are as a hitter. Some big, strong guys stand on top of the plate and they look for anything they can pull and hit into the seats, and they have a lot of success doing it. Balls that are pulled tend to be hit harder, so you'll see a batting average typically is higher on the pull side.
Mercer high and deep. See if the wind keeps it in, and it will. And it's dropped. Mercer will make second as Cervelli pulls in at third. Good read by Cervelli. He was standing at second base when that ball hit the glove as Schwarber got together with Happ in left center, and that's a ball that's got to be caught, and Happ will be charged with the error.
Yeah, Happ's calling for it. Kyle probably should have yielded, but he didn't hear him, didn't see him, didn't feel it, whatever it was. And that's a challenge here when you play in the daytime here. Outfielders are hesitant to take their eyes off the ball to find their fellow outfielder, trying to stay on the ball, track the ball the whole way between the breeze and the sky. And it'll lead to some ugly play in the outfield.
So now the Pirates have him at second and third with nobody out. This has been a bizarre start. And the guy who got out of this exact jam in the last half inning is now at the plate. Well, that really hurts too, because that's a home run on a typical July afternoon here at Wrigley, but the wind knocked it down. And it should have been out number one.
Now Williams not have a hit yet. 20 at bats, hitless. Even though there are two men in scoring position, I'd be tempted to cheat my infield in a little bit here. I mean, I think if you come in the middle just a little bit, you force Cervelli to read the ball off the bat. He won't be going on contact here. With a ball to the middle of the diamond, he'll be able to read and score on. But if you cheat it in about halfway, you might take that away from him. And I just, based on the numbers anyway, and the fact that Williams is a pitcher, he's probably not going to hit it hard through the infield. I guess the most likely scenario is he's going to punch out.
0 for 21 to start his career. It did have one official at bat last season. And a ground ball to Rizzo. He is going to throw home. Out is Cervelli. And now the double play's in order.
Again, that should have been a read situation for Cervelli. With nobody out, I'm a little bit surprised that he tried to score on this ball. One out, absolutely, and it was bang bang. It was really close at home. And if he slides directly to the plate, he might be safe. He might have been able to upend Caratini a little bit.
That'll go 3-2 on the tag play at the plate.
Good tag by Victor.
First and third, and it's Frazier. Popped out to lead off the game. He's 0 for his last 12. He's 5 out of 10 here at Wrigley Field this season. Pitch. 2-0. Frazier making his team leading 48th start in the leadoff spot. Butler angrily fires that ball toward the home dugout.
This ball has no clue where it's going.
3-0 swing and popped into left, not terribly deep. Mercer's going to tag, and he's not going to go, and he would have been out by 20 feet. Boy, the runners in scoring position fan club out there, hide your eyes today. We are in the second inning, and I believe we're what, combined 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, Bryant hit his ball pretty hard. Or not Bryant.
Ground ball toward the hole, picked up by Russell, and Eddie Butler gets out of it. A lot of jam early, and both pitchers finding a way out. President of Community and Government Affairs and the Chief Legal Officer with a pretty cool announcement that involves all Cub fans.
This is really exciting. For the first time ever in Cubs history, obviously, we're going to offer one lucky fan a chance to win an actual World Series ring, the same caliber and quality that we've given to the players when they won. It's going to be a raffle that's going to take place starting today and go through Labor Day. And one lucky fan's going to walk away with a real piece of Cubs history.
I think the headline here, Mike, is that the raffle tickets are $10. It's not like this is a $500 raffle item. It's a $10.
It's a $10 raffle. All the proceeds go to Cubs charities, but it's a $10 raffle. You'll be able to buy raffle tickets here at the ballpark at Wrigley Field, outside at the park at Wrigley in the Cubs store, downtown Chicago in the Cubs store, or if you're a resident of Chicago, you can go online to Cubs.com/ring-raffle, and for $10 have a chance to win a phenomenal ring and a piece of Cubs history.
I'm curious who came up with the idea. I think it's a terrific idea.
I think there are many people involved in the process. Stephanie Shaw and Chelsea Naylor have done a great job of putting together the raffle itself. But a lot of people involved, and all for the benefit of Cubs charities too. As you know, Len, we invest in parks and in schools and neighborhoods across the city of Chicago. And here's one more chance to celebrate the World Series victory with our fans and also to do some good for Cubs charities.
Jason Hayward leading off the Cubs second, and he takes low for ball one. So Cubs.com/ring-raffle. And as Mike said, this will go through September the 4th, and the winner will be announced, the winning number, on Tuesday, September 5th. Do you have any idea what the expectations are in terms of how many tickets will be sold? Do you have a cap on it?
More than the Powerball, I bet.
You know, we really don't. We hope that everybody participates, but if you judge from the trophy tour, where we've taken the World Series trophy throughout the Midwest and all around Chicago, we know hundreds of thousands of fans are interested. And we hope a lot more will be interested, too, in owning a piece of history. I should say there's one difference between this ring and the one that was given to the players. That is, this one will be etched with the name of the winner. So each player got their name on their ring. The winner of this ring will have their name engraved on the side, just like the players did.
Even better, yeah.
Are there limits to how many tickets or how many entries a person can make?
You can make, I think it's 100 entries at one time and up to 1,000 entries per person.
Wow. So you probably can't put a dollar value on it for Cubs charities, but what has the World Series win meant just in terms of this organization's ability to do all the community work that I know the Ricketts family really talks about on a daily basis? It's huge, right?
It's been tremendous, and everywhere we go, I think the respect for the Ricketts family, for their interest in giving back to Chicago and helping communities throughout the city is just abundantly clear. We've tried to take pieces of the World Series and be able to share it with our neighborhood, as I talked about the trophy tour, now with the ring raffle. But more than that, being able to invest our dollars into communities to help kids play ball, to build and refurbish baseball fields, to help neighborhoods grow and flourish. That's what we want to do when we talk about giving back and being a good neighbor, and we continue to do that in spades after having won a World Series.
Victor Caratini takes low, ball 1. Beautiful day here at Wrigley Field.
What a first big league knock.
Yes. He would be all for that, making his second major league start. Well, my thing with and I don't wear the ring a lot, but when I have it, just kind of passing it around, let people look at it. I mean, there's so much to look at with this ring, and if I had to pick my favorite part of the championship ring, it's that area there on the right. You've got the marquee, but behind the marquee on the player grade ring, and you're wearing one, Mike, is you've got the bricks and the ivy. I think that's just the coolest thing ever. So it's under the nameplate on the side of the ring. The detail on this ring is just phenomenal.
The ring itself is something to behold, right? 214 diamonds at 5.5 carats. It's got genuine red rubies and sapphires on it. Everybody, as you say, does have their favorite part. I like the engraving of "We Never Quit" on the inside too. It's always a reminder of what it took to win a World Series and what we strive for every day.
Runner at first, Addison Russell batting. Caratini walk. And he takes a strike. John and Farrah Lester had their big Never Quit Foundation event at Joe's. I think raised about $600,000 for charity in the battle against pediatric cancer. We know Anthony Rizzo. He's done amazing work. That one is through. Unfortunately, and bobbled, and everybody's safe. Thought it might deflect off Williams, but once it got past him, it looked like the Pirates were going to get at least one, if not two, and as it is, they get none.
Time to start looking for that full moon. This is a strange ball game. No doubt a little bit of a tricky hop. Tries at the last to slap it over there to Mercer, but nothing doing for the Pirates, and opportunity here for the Cubs.
So an error on Frazier, and the pitcher Butler will come up with 2 men on. Well, we've got you here, Mike. We headed over to the new Brickhouse Tavern the other day to grab lunch. I think the park just outside the ballpark here, the western gate, when we walk out of the ballpark, just how the congestion is relieved so much more quickly than in years past, and obviously with all the construction the last couple of years. I think that's been just a wonderful addition to the ballpark.
We do too, and I love the way you all get to interact with the fans who are out on the park during games. But we sometimes I walk out and just look at people enjoying the park during games and on non-game days as well. Being able to come by the brick house, to shop in the stores, or just to hang out on the lawns with all the activity that are going on there on a regular basis.
I got it, you take it. Is Bell with a bad throw, safe. Wow. Williams and Bell took a look at each other. Eventually Bell picked it up, but the throw was high, and the bases are loaded.
Pirates are about to err for the cycle here on the infield. Harrison's got one, Frazier's got one, and now Bell. In a game of anything you can do, I can do uglier. And we'll see if indeed the call was correct at first base. Yep.
Sacrifice error on the first baseman, and it brings up Zobrist, so the Cubs do not have a hit here in this inning. A walk, 2 errors, and the batter has been Zobrist. Bizarro world today.
How bad does Jordy Mercer not want the ball hit to him right now?
Zobrist with a single. Lead off the Cubs first.
Yeah, my favorite part of the green space out there at the park is just seeing the kids out there playing catch, and it just has a real cool vibe.
I think that's right before every game we see families out there playing catch.
Hi, everybody.
Another great chance here for the Cubs. That's a strike in the outside corner. I would ask you if you miss your original office here inside Wrigley Field, but I know the answer because I've seen the new offices. It's ridiculously nice.
Is tremendous. Although there's something special about working in Wrigley Field.
Oh, you're right. You're right. One is hit foul upstairs. Not a lot of space here, though, in the old front office. That's the other thing. With the move to the bigger offices, this is a bigger front office in terms of manpower.
Well, it reflects a lot on the activities that are going on in and around the ballpark. There are yoga classes once a week out on the plaza or in the park. There are wiggle worms and Old Town School of Folk Music, and then there are concerts in the evening and movies in the park. There's so much to do and see around the park at Wrigley that it's really an exciting vibe that we're starting to feel.
2 strikes on Ben. So the Pirates in the first loaded the bases with 2 outs before Polanco struck out. The Cubs had second and third, nobody out in their half of the first, did not score. The Pirates had second and third, no outs in the top of the second, failed to score. The Cubs have loaded the bases with 1 out in their half. And it's still 0-0. Called strike 3.
Yeah, and the pitchers haven't been particularly sharp, but they've made some big pitches at critical times. And that was another dandy by Williams. Similar to the one he threw Rizzo and Anthony's at bat, just a perfectly placed fastball outside corner at the knees. Anthony was deemed a ball this time. Zobrist gets rung up.
So to sum up, the Cubs Charities World Series ring raffle starts today, will end September 4th. You can purchase tickets for $10 each. This is a player grade World Series ring. It will be customized with the winner's last name. We should mention, in accordance with state and local law, the ring raffle tickets are only available here in Chicago. Game days near fan services in the Budweiser bleachers, near the Audi Club near Gate D. You can get a ticket. Cubs store locations on Michigan Avenue in the aforementioned park at Wrigley. If you live within Chicago city limits, you can buy a ticket at the locations listed above or online at Cubs.com/ring raffle. All the proceeds will benefit Cubs Charities. Wonderful announcement made by the Cubs today. Two and one the count on Bryant. Second inning, no score, bases loaded.
It's been a while since Chris has hit one in the seats.
Well, he just did.
Let me rephrase that. It's been a while since Chris has hit one in the seats in fair territory.
What a hotel across the street, Mike. That's going up quickly. Can't wait to see the finished product.
It is. It should be ready by opening day next year.
And with a number of restaurants coming in as well.
A bunch of new restaurants on the ground floor. Some of the best chefs in Chicago are going to bring their food to the park at Wrigley. It's already an exciting place, but it'll be even more so once the hotel opens next year.
That's going to be great.
2-2 on Chris Bryant. We'll try it again. No hits in the inning. Again, Caratini walked and then back-to-back errors. Now Russell and Butler to reach. And somehow he gets out of this one. Mike, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on your World Series ring, and this should be a fun summer.
Thank you for having me. And Cubs.com/ring raffle.
No score after 2.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Green Day will make their performance debut at Wrigley Field Thursday, August 24th. The band stop at the friendly confines as part of their Revolution Radio Summer Tour. Tickets are available now at Cubs.com/Green Day.
All right, we're 2 innings in. 97 pitches made between these two starters, and most of the high stress variety.
Yeah, it's like, stress is the right word. It's like being stuck in traffic. There's a lot of traffic, but nobody has crossed home plate. So who do you point the finger at most? The fielders who are kicking it around, the pitchers that are throwing all these pitches, or the hitters who haven't been able to deliver the big hit?
Makes you really rue what's gone on is the Pirates have committed 3 errors and have not Been made to pay for it.
You know, aside from you know, a few extra pitches for their starter Williams, but, it's pretty minor collateral damage.
This is going to be a day of the bullpens unless one or both of the starters become a lot more efficient. So the fewest base runners we've seen in a half inning is 5. Or batters, I should say. There's a base hit. So McCutchen already 2 for 2.
Well, McCutchen has been scorching hot. He's been really good against the Cubs in his career. He's been outstanding here at Wrigley Field. It's a bit of a hanging slider. When you watch McCutchen play at such a high level, you kind of scratch your head to say, well, how could he have been so bad for long stretches last year? Because he's always had what appears to be a pretty simple approach in the batter's box. Balance, quick hands, doesn't overswing. Maybe got into a little bit of a tendency to pull off the ball last year and roll over, but it appeared to be a real complicated approach.
Bell walked in the first. Bounced up there. McCutchen trying to make second. He got it. Russell with a great play.
That was magic.
I thought that throw was destined to hit McCutchen, but somehow Russell grabbed it and tagged him.
That was spectacular. Caratini showing quick feet on the recovery here. He keeps it in front, scrambles after it. Yeah, and short hop and slap the tag on McCutchen, who not issuing any argument, so you have to believe that Russell got him. Hard to tell with that look right there, but maybe just brushed his leg on the way by.
A better look here, I believe. Yep, got him. Good
Wow.
call.
Wow. How about those hands?
One and two now to Bell. Make it 2-2. Early happy birthday wishes to Vito Birdie, who will celebrate during the All-Star break. And a nice note from Justin Vetter, V-E-T-T-E-R, from New Lenox, Illinois. And Jessica Ingram, thanks for checking in as well.
You think Russell will seek out Javi Baez in the dugouts and take that tag, master?
Baez will say, "You learned that from me." Full count on Bell. Jaso next. And a pitch. On the ground, it's Rizzo. There's 3-1. Blue tongue will be worth it.
And going to be a little headache down the road, too. Are you going to buy a raffle ticket for the ring?
Well, 1-2. That would feel a little
greedy.
A little bit.
I'm guessing somewhere there's a disclaimer about Cub employees not being eligible to win.
Pretty well, but Ian Happ, and he had to make a late adjustment to end the inning. Still nothing in the third. Group, the spectacular collision of comedy, theater, rock concert, and dance party all rolled into one. Catch our Boys in Blue at the Briar Street Theater. Call 800-BLUE-MAN or visit blueman.com. Anthony Rizzo fouled out. Two in scoring position in the first. Leadoff man here in the bottom of the third, and a strike. It's 1-1. Rizzo, Happ, and Schwarber due. Cervelli has already been on the concussion DL twice. Punch back after taking that one off the mask. Oof, almost off the neck.
Yesterday we had Keon Broxton yelling at the wall out in center field. Williams has been very indecisive. No decisions his last 4 times out. Good work his last couple of starts. Last time out against Tampa Bay, he went 7+, allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, didn't walk a man, struck out 7. Previous start in Milwaukee, 6+, 6 hits, 3 runs, 7 punch outs, a couple of walks. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the San Francisco games. That's 3 consecutive quality starts for him. Depending on your point of view, he's either on a roll or he's due to give it up. He just threw a 95 miles per hour. I didn't know he had that in him.
Turns and throws on a 2-2, and it's full. Back to the pitcher, underhand to Bell for the out.
The legendary James Taylor returns to Wrigley Field on Monday, July 17th. Hey, that's right around the corner. With special guest Bonnie Raitt. Don't miss your chance to see these Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Tickets are available now at Cubs.com/James Taylor.
Ian Happ with 1 out, nobody on. Getting some tweets on the ring raffle. Some out of city, out of state Cub fans wondering about why they are not eligible to buy a ticket. I think you heard me say in the release it says in accordance with state and local law, ring raffle tickets are only available in Chicago. So based on that, the understanding is not that the Cubs chose to not include all Cub fans, but legally this is how they
don't have an option
to do it. So two is Happ. Takes outside. Deep counts for both these starting pitchers here early.
And Williams, at the end of the day, he's able to make that pitch, that fastball outer third and down.
Swatted back into center for a base hit. Third hit for the Cubs.
Yeah, it was Happ back in the first. Hit that line drive. So not all the at-bats have been bad in these risky situations.
Schwarber comes down to the pitcher's first time up, throw to first. Back on his belly. Happ trying to get to second, and he'll get in. Mercer couldn't hang on to the ball. Was that delayed?
I don't know.
I'm going with delayed steal. Nope.
Nope.
Went with the pitch.
Mercer never did get the handle. That hop got up high on him. Couldn't secure it.
Schwarber in a favorable count.
Happ runs well. He's one of the faster Cub runners. They don't steal a lot of bases.
Swing and a miss.
Because
of that time.
They hit into a lot of double plays. The other day they had bounced into more than any team in the league. I don't know if that's still the case, but you don't have guys that you can steal bases. You tend to play station to station, and you become vulnerable to that grounded into the double play scenario.
2-2.
Trying to lift that ball. So we talked about the pull earlier and the willingness to go the other way. Kyle's certainly strong enough to hit the ball into the seats to left field, and I think that's when Cub fans can start to feel good about Kyle. When he starts to take that pitch middle away and drive it to left center.
Popped up will be the second baseman Frazier to get it. So 2 away. And here comes Hayward. We had a similar 4th of July night story to the one in Atlanta back in the 80s, where they played till the wee hours of the morning as the fans, or whoever was left, waited for the fireworks.
Yeah, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Eugene, Oregon, the Cubs West League affiliate, the Emeralds, they played a 20-inning game the 4th of July. They had a huge crowd when the game started, over 5,000. About 1,800 left around 1 a.m. Is back safely. Austin Meek with a registeredguard.com story about it. It's pretty interesting. So I guess once you get the fireworks ready, you can't just pack them all up in a box and say we're going to do this tomorrow night. The best way to kind of deal with that is to fire them off. But they thought, you know, we don't want to wake up the neighbors. So they took a 15-minute show and made it into a couple of minutes. Some of the locals were not too thrilled about it the other night, but it sounded like they didn't really have much of a choice.
It was a shorter but louder show.
Yes.
They condensed the.
Yeah. And the fans paid to see it, so you want to come through for them.
So you pay the fine for violating the noise ordinance or whatever. And you apologize. You don't ask for permission. You apologize after the fact.
It's like the manager who has 2 bad choices, but he's got to choose one. So the Emeralds did what they could. Mets and Braves in 1985. Played a 19-inning 6-hour game. Plus 2 rain delays. 2 rain delays, I should say, the other night in Oregon. So that's why that game ended so late.
Yeah, the Braves game, didn't that end with like a Rick Camp home run or Rick Mailer, a
yes.
pitcher, right? Hit a game-winning home run.
Yeah,
I think it was one of the Ricks.
I was wrong again. Yeah, 2 rain delays in Atlanta. Keith Hernandez hit for the cycle. Davey Johnson and Darryl Strawberry were kicked out in the 17th. Rick Camp tied the game in the 18th.
Okay.
He allowed 5 runs in the next inning. The Braves then scored 2 in the bottom of the 19th. The final was 16-13 Mets. It ended after 4 a.m. and they still shot off fireworks.
And people thought they were under attack. People were calling the police. What is going on here?
Just remember, no good deed goes unpunished. That's the other lesson to be learned.
The longest game in professional baseball history, the Rochester Red Wings, Pawtucket Red Sox.
43 innings?
Yeah, that was played into Easter Sunday morning. They actually didn't play the whole game. They finished it later on that summer. They played 32 innings. Finally, they said enough. And then when they resumed it later this summer, it took an inning to finish.
2-2 on Hayward. This will be the 75th pitch for Williams coming up. In the air, and the wind makes it a souvenir. say whenever you go to a big league ballpark, you're going to see something that you have not previously seen, and I cannot remember another game that has started quite like this one.
Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire, quickly following Cervelli out, trying to move the proceedings along. It's a good thing I didn't win the lottery for the Hamilton tickets tonight. I don't think I would have been able to make it for showtime.
Six hits, 4 errors, 10 men left on base combined so far. About 136 pitches.
Well, it's not an easy game to pitch because both guys are off their game, you know. So, and it's harder to find that rhythm when the other guy's struggling too, because you're struggling, then you have a long break in between innings while the other guy's scuffling.
All 4.
It seems, and this is just anecdotal, I don't have the evidence to back it up, but it seems like sometimes the best pitched games are when the guy on the other side is also pitching a good game.
There's a rhythm,
yeah,
in some sense. Ray Searage, the pitching coach, will head out to the mound. Game in New York tonight. Junior Guerra for the Brewers. Jordan Montgomery for the Yankees. Brewers have won 7 of their last 8.
How are the Yankees doing? We like to check in with all the teams around Major League Baseball and provide news and information about them. Bombers are 3.5 back of the Red Sox, 4-6 over their last 10. See where Robinson Cano is going to replace Starling Castro on the American League All-Star team.
He's got injured.
Hammy, I believe.
Base runners for the Cubs. Cartini fouls away.
Checking in with the AL East.
Orioles really disappointed with their first half. Toronto got off to a terrible start, then way better, and now they've only 5 below. We'll see the Orioles right out of the break at Camden Yards. They've gotten Zach Britton back off the DL. Pulled on the ground to first. Bell will get it to Williams. 2 more stranded. After 3, Cubs nothing, Pirates nothing.
Make your picks for the T-Mobile Home Run Derby Bracket Challenge. With a little luck, you and 3 friends may be going to the 2017 World Series. Thanks to T-Mobile. Make your picks at MLB.com/bracket challenge.
Scoreless tie, 4th inning.
I will take either Stanton or Judge. Probably be the #1 seed. Stanton's got home park advantage.
I'll go Stanton.
Okay, I'll take Judge then. Loser has to buy the tacos next time we're in Pittsburgh.
I'm in. 1-0 on Polanco. First guy to work a 1-2-3 wins. Might actually be the case today.
Long of leg.
Saw the Pirates in Pittsburgh. They were talking about him going through the same process McCutchen did, going through his slump. Two and two.
Polanco, when he was coming up through their minor league system, regarded as their top prospect and one of the better hitting prospects in the game. 25 years of age. About 3 full years of games played at the big league level under his belt.
In the right. Hayward will track it down. Polanco's going to have to hold it first. Nice Gold Glove play out there by Hayward. And what looks like a dub. Now the ball gets away. Cartini will not throw. As I was saying, Hayward kept him at first, but then
a game that's been marred by sloppiness a little bit more comes right on the heels of an outstanding play by Hayward down there in right field. He just continues to really impress with his outfield play, the ability to get to balls, and of course nobody wants to challenge that big arm. So this is deep in right field. So that shuts Polanco down, and then Addy just throwing the ball out of play.
Yeah. Well, I think he was throwing it back to Butler, but time had not been called.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like indicating that you can't just throw it out of play until the umpire tells you can. So I don't know if he was trying to throw it to Butler and letting him know that the ball needs to be put out of play, which as a pitcher, you don't want that to happen anyway. If the umpires aren't going to check it, you don't want your infielders giving it up.
A single and an error. Martini got that ball toward the next base, so Polanco could not try to advance. What are we watching today? Can't figure it out.
Oh, the easy answer is to say it's a couple of teams playing out the string heading to the All-Star break, but that would be an assumption that would be unfair to make. Sometimes it's just a sloppy game. Sometimes. And it goes back to the rhythm, the flow of the game too. With all these long at bats and long innings, it makes it harder for everybody to play the game. Makes it harder for the umpires to umpire the game. Some bad pitching, some bad ABs in critical situations, sloppy fielding.
Well,
at least one questionable base running decision.
We say subpar pitching, it's scoreless.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the result doesn't match up with what you see. Sometimes you kind of be off your game, but still manage to string some zeros.
The 3-1 to Cervelli. Oh, 3-2.
To use a golf analogy, I think sometimes you hit it in the trees, then you hit it in the bunker, and somehow you miraculously make a par. And I think that's what both these pitchers would tell you here today, that they're scrambling. They're in scramble mode. And they're not getting a lot of help. That's for sure. Well, Madden likes to say they're not all oil paintings.
Cervelli walks. I saw Rick Fuse on the back of the press box between innings. I said, you want to just put 3-2 up on the scoreboard when every at bat starts? Got a lot of deep counts on both sides. Third walk issued by Butler. Here's Mercer. Nobody out, 2 on.
And normally the narrative at Wrigley on a day like today, where the wind is blowing in a little bit, is that the pitchers are a little more aggressive, more willing to challenge.
Play depth on the infield. Mentioned off the top, Mercer had been swinging a hot bat. He reached on an error, a ball that wasn't caught out in left center. 327 over his last 40 games. More for his defense than his offense. He's been pitching in, and now Caratini will head out to the mound. Gary Cederstrom just kicking the dirt around behind home plate.
I think if he had a hook like the old vaudeville days, he'd wrap it around those catchers as they start to head out there.
There's a strike, 95 down the middle, 2-1. Williams is on deck. He's made 80 pitches through 3 innings. Popped up on the infield. This is out number 1. Trying to say, if they hadn't loaded the bases, you wonder if Clint would think about pinch hitting, but it's just too early. So it will be Williams. Today's CSN bar of the game, presented by Miller Lite, is Yaxie's. To see the complete list of the CSN bars of the game presented by Miller Lite, visit csnchicago.com. Typical bunting situation for a pitcher. He squares early. Apparently the ball hit the bat, so that's a strike. Guessing way back in the late 1800s that was an out, right? And they thought, you know, that doesn't
I don't
seem
know.
fair. Because the ball hits the bat and the catcher catches it. And he swings away and fouls.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We should dig into some baseball history, because I know there have been a lot of modifications to the rules over the years.
I'm going with the Occam razor theory that the thing that makes the most sense is what happened. That they took that literally and then had to tweak the rule.
So Williams attempted a little slug bunt there. We saw Chris Archer for Tampa the other day successfully pull that off, with Anthony was being very aggressive defending the bunt. Coming hard in from first base changes the thinking for everybody, the base runners included. Polanco now knows he has to be a little extra aggressive to make sure he can make third base. This has coverage at first, but he's trying to hold his ground as long as possible in case Williams does swing. And Butler's got to throw a strike. That's his main priority here. Necessarily try to make it so hard for the guy to bunt, and then you end up throwing the ball out of the zone. You got to throw a strike.
Yeah, you can't walk him. This is where he wants to make his pitch.
Got away with one there. That was clearly off the outside corner.
The bench tells Rizzo to back up a few steps. Pretty good bunt. We'll go 1-4 on the sacrifice. Frazier will hit. 2 outs, second and third. Wind blowing in today. High fly ball out in the deep right center. Hayward is on the warning track. Butler escapes again. Bottom of the fourth. Still zeros.
Cubs Talk podcast. The Cubs need a consistent leadoff hitter, and will they ever find one this season? Patrick Mooney and Tony Andracki discuss why the All-Star break is coming at the absolute best possible time for Madden and Company. Subscribe today.
Another missed opportunity. This time the Pirates 2 on, nobody out, failing to score. So the Cubs will have Russell, Butler, and Zobrist in the last of the fourth. Big crowd all weekend, or all week I should say, and we expect to have huge crowds all weekend here going into the break. Night game tomorrow, and then a noon Sunday first pitch. Ooh, how cool is that? A little reflection in the sunglasses. Russell with a bullet. Snagged by Jaso. A very loud first out.
Yeah, he knocked the tar out of that ball. So maybe not being congratulated by the fans of the bleachers. Make a little bit of a late adjustment. Up he goes.
Pitch to Eddie Butler. It's a strike. He reached on an error. Got a sac bunt. Second inning, 1-2. StatCast is powered by AWS. 107.6 miles an hour off the bat. And Russell. Still 1-2. Well, the Rays went home for a big 4-game weekend against the Red Sox. They wrap up the first half and pulled off a 4-1 win. They beat Chris Sale. Wilson Ramos homered and knocked in 3 last night. Dodgers with a big 4-run bottom of the ninth to stun the Diamondbacks 5-4. That's a series sweep. Jake Lamb hit 2 homers for the D-backs.
Did he make the All-Star team?
I don't believe so. Perfectly positioned is Polanco. And 2 down, it'll be up to Zobrist.
For so long that NL West, you know, it was Colorado leading the way, the Dodgers nipping at their heels, the Diamondbacks right there in the mix as well. The Dodgers have just really asserted themselves over the last 6 weeks or so. Now have a 5.5 game lead on Arizona, and the Rockies, who kind of went into the tank, are 8.5 back.
Ball, no strikes on Ben. is in, yes. Graham is an All-Star.
Let's check in with the NL West. See the Dodgers, they are 23-7. The Dodgers are over their last 30 ball games, extending that lead to 5.5. It's the best record in baseball in that stretch. The Royals playing great ball too for an extended period of time, 20-10 in their last 30.
So the All-Star Jake Lamb leading the majors in RBIs, 67, along with his 20 home runs.
This seems like an illegal meeting. By illegal, I mean unnecessary. Ray Searage, longtime pitching coach, very successful there in Pittsburgh, would likely disagree with me. Trying to get this young guy through this outing here this afternoon. He's battling at all kinds of adversity. Pitching a scoreless game for us.
Bryant batting with 2 outs and a man on.
I have a feeling that this game right here, the commissioner might play this game this offseason to some folks. So he talks about promoting pace of play.
Wade LeBlanc, a left-hander, is up for the Pirates, just starting to get loose. Bryant, fair ball past Harrison. Let's see if Zobrist can score. He is around third. He will score. Bryant to third. It's a triple. Cubs lead 1-0.
We've seen the Bryant speed manifest itself a couple of times today. The infield hit. And now a 3-bagger into the left field corner. You don't see that very often. More importantly, it comes with 2 outs and a man on. So on a day where it's featured a lot of missed opportunities, a run coming out of what appeared to be a fairly harmless situation. 2 quick outs to start the inning. Zobrist single, Bryant triple.
Still doesn't count as a hit with the runner in scoring position. Not that that matters. So 1-0. 2-out single followed by a triple.
I think Clint Hurdle turned to Ray Searage and said, "What'd you tell him, Ray? That didn't work out so well." Moved maybe a step further away. Told him not to throw it there, Skip.
Two strikes to Rizzo.
Is a pretty daring player. We've seen the approach he takes at the plate sometimes and on the bases. That just crossed my mind as he was smiling towards the dugout. Would he contemplate ever a 2-strike bunt in a situation like this with a man on third and third baseman way off the way Harrison is? I mean, it's one of those plays where if you're afraid of looking bad, you never try, because if you foul it off, it looks horrible.
About the 2-out, 2-strike bunt.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah, right.
The 2-strike, you know, down in the count.
Driven to right. It is gone.
That's way better than the two-strike bunt.
3-0. So he's got 20 before the All-Star break.
Well, tried to beat him inside. Ball leaked just a little bit. The inner third, choked up and quick, under control, explosive swing. See you later, baseball. See you later, Trevor Williams.
So the Cubs have broken the seal. They've got 3 in. We've got a pitching change in the 4th.
Page every week for your chance to own one-of-a-kind Cubs items. This week's auction includes the Stars and Stripes uniforms worn in Cincinnati on July 1st. Go to Cubs.com/authentics before this Sunday at 8 p.m. to place your bid. The Cubs will donate net proceeds from the sale of Cubs Authentics to Cubs charities.
It's time for the Weber's Sauces and Seasonings call to the pen. Call grilling flavor up to the bigs. 33rd appearance for left-hander Wade LeBlanc.
Veteran, been around, used to start, now out of the pen. Good changeup. Certainly more of a finesse style than a power guy.
What is happening with 2 down? Obrist with the single. Bryant knocked him in with a 3-bagger, and then Rizzo with a 2-run homer.
It's that old 3rd time through the order.
Carl Edwards up early. Was a 98 pitch outing for Trevor Williams, 3 2/3.
Nope. With Edwards up there throwing now, get the sense he's probably coming into this game.
With 4 scoreless, 4 hits, 3 walks. On a bounce, backhanded by Harrison. Close, but they got him. But the Cubs strike first. It took a while, but they lead 3-0 after 4. Follow Patrick Mooney, our Cubs insider, on CSNChicago.com. Presented by Nationwide's Jeff Vukovich, serving the community for 38 years. Go to jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
I love the random sprint by the little toddler. They just boom, they just take off. No real purpose. They're just in go mode. So this is kind of fun. The last inning, the only inning that the Pirates did not either issue a walk or commit an error. And it's the only inning that the Cubs, anybody scored a run in this ballgame.
Hey, good to see Tracy Myers here. Covers the Blackhawks for CSN Chicago. Taking in Cubs baseball, and Harrison just got hit again. 20 times he's been plunked, most in the majors.
Take the slow stroll down to first base, and Joe Madden will take a little bit quicker stroll out to the mound. And he's going one batter at a time with Butler here, trying to buy at least a couple more outs. He doesn't want to expose him to the middle part of this order for the third time.
So he will not be able to qualify for the win as he leaves in the fifth. 3-0 Cubs.
Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Members FDIC.
It's a Weber Sauces and Seasonings call to the pen, and an early call for Carl Edwards Jr.
This is all about where the Pirates are in their batting order. It's the thick part of the order, and Edwards called on to slam the door here after the Cubs posted that 3 spot in the bottom of the 4th.
Quick glance at his game logs. This is his earliest appearance. Nobody out, 5th inning.
There was one not too long ago where he came into, obviously not this early, but
his 5th inning, 1 out.
Yeah, was that Washington?
Was it's the Rockies. Came in the 6th in Washington.
So I think that I like it. I like the play of having your best guy on their best guys. You know, kind of, we talk so much about high leverage situations, late game situations, but would you rather have Edwards pitching to McCutchen in the 5th when you've just taken a lead, or pitching to the bottom of the order, say in the 7th or the 8th? I'd like to think you could have other guys that could handle that.
0-2. Swing and a miss. So they get McCutchen for the first time today.
No doubt a frustrating day for Butler in that he leaves the game with a lead. He is not allowed to run. And you got to pitch 5 innings to qualify, so he can't get the W. But just to give you the numbers, see similar trends for just about all pitchers, first, second, and third times through the batting order. For Eddie Butler, first time through, opposing hitters hitting .215 against him. Second time through, .244. The third time through the order, opposing batters hitting .350 against him. And this particular third time through was, it was going to be McCutchen, Bell, and Jaso. And McCutchen's the hottest hitter on the planet right now.
Harrison, the runner at first. And the 1-strike pitch knocked down by Caratini. Been good back there today.
Yeah, he's been able to keep that ball in front of him. One instant scramble to make the throw to get McCutchen at second base on the spectacular tag by Addison Russell.
Set, hands high, the pitch off the outside. 98 that time, 2-1. Popped up, shallow left. Russell. Let Schwarber take it. With 2 gone, it's Jaso. Harrison got hit to start the inning. Joe went and got Carl Edwards Jr., who struck out McCutchen. Bell wide to short left, and now Jaso takes ball 1.
Harrison might be looking to run at some point here. 2 outs. He's stolen 10 bases. He's been caught 4 times. How much of a book they have on Caratini? The report we got on him is that arm was probably a little bit lacking.
Opposing batters are 15 out of 113, about a 130 batting average against Edwards. Walked more than he's allowed hits. It's 2-1. He is taken outside. 3-1.
So trying to unload, and Edwards tough on left-handed hitters with that late movement he gets on his fastball, cutting in away from the barrel, in on the hands. Weak pop-ups with that pitch.
Action time now for Harrison as Rizzo plays behind him at first. There he goes. The pitch pulled foul.
Yeah, that's that baby that was sleeping earlier.
Another 3-2. And the tying run will come up. Edwards on the year has walked 18 and he's allowed 15 hits. His whip is under 1 because of the lack of hits allowed.
Yeah, so when you evaluate him overall, you live with the walks because of the low hits and all the strikeouts.
Rolled right to Zobrist. Easy play, and the Pirates strand 2 more. Pirates are supposed to be on the high seas. They've been marooned all day. 3-0. Hey, this Saturday, that's tomorrow, July 8th. The Cubs host the Pirates at 6:15. Make sure to visit the Cubs' wives as they will set up shop in the concourse and auction off baskets of their husbands' favorite things, which could include movies, books, gift cards, and autographed memorabilia. There will be an additional online auction July 9th through the 16th at Cubs.com/authentics. LeBlanc to Kyle Schwarber for a strike. 3-0. Cubs scored all their runs in the 4th. Oh, 2. Pulled into right. First hit for Schwarber since coming back from Iowa. And it will be a leadoff double on an 0-2 pitch. There's a quick bat.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lightning quick bat, and that's why everybody feels like he's going to have a lot of success. He's had success, and obviously he's had his struggles. That's an important part of development, too. Hit bottom and then bounce back up. The Cubs have hit for the cycle over the last 5 batters.
Strikeout and a walk for Hayward. Frazier will get him. Schwarber at third, 1 away.
He almost had a blowout.
Almost had a down goes Frazier moment.
Now we got an infield in moment with a man on third, 1 out for Cartini.
Seeking his first hit and RBI. Roll for 8 in the big leagues.
Change up. That's LeBlanc's best pitch. He was batting .343 when he was called up from AAA. Had hit 8 home runs, a bunch of doubles, or 54 driven in.
He was one of the league leaders in batting average. And the PCL ground ball, backhanded play. Bell throw to the plate. Out is Schwarber. Was there a blockage? Joe's looking for some clarification. Did he have a lane?
I'm sure what they would rule is that the throw took him in to Schwarber's path. It looked like he initially gave him the back corner of home plate. And as he was catching the ball right into harm's way. Clean play by Schwarber going directly towards home plate. Boy, that's a potential blown out knee there because Ravelli wasn't able to get that leg down or into a, you prefer to have that leg pointing right down the third baseline.
A nice play by Bell. A hard hit roller. 3-2 to get Schwarber. Caratini is at first, 2 outs now. Addison Russell. And a pitch. Swing and a foul to the net. Pedro Strop up in the pen. Edwards is standing on deck. Well, the relievers all raving about Hector Rondon's at bat yesterday. An 8 or 9 pitch sequence.
Hey, coming our way. It's a tough day at the ballpark when the highlights are a Hector Rondon at bat and a John Jay pitching performance.
It was a scoreless inning. Their ERA is 0. John Jay.
I wonder how many days of rest he'll have before his next appearance.
I'm going to put it in the triple digits. You know, pitching on 472 days of rest. He's got an ERA of 3. Two to Russell. Now it's full.
Blanc wants to take a little time to consider his options here.
Deep center, but McCutchen makes the catch. So Wade LeBlanc's the Cubs in the 5th. 3-0.
The 6th here at Wrigley, Cubs on top 3-0. This is your Miller Lite game report, and Victor Caratini making his first start here at Wrigley Field and doing a really nice job, having a chance to speak to Madden about him earlier before the game. He said one of the things he really likes, besides his blocking behind the plate, which we've seen, the way he receives the ball, but his interaction with all of the pitchers. He says sometimes you can be overwhelmed as a young catcher in that position, but he says not this guy. He's not afraid to voice his opinion with all of the pitchers out there, and certainly is doing a nice job here today, guys.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, that is an important trait. Very easy to be intimidated, especially by some veteran guys, but it's a team effort.
Yeah, and that's something that young catchers are taught as they come through the minor leagues. This situation, you got to be kind of out front a little bit, like a quarterback.
Belly, a single and a walk. Not trying to score in the second.
Look how quiet Caratini is behind the plate. Sets up. He's very quiet. Appears to have good hands back there. He likes to throw from his knees. He kind of drops onto his knees, making throws to second base. Maybe has some issues with the footwork.
welcome all our viewers watching on the Dish Network. Pirates have to be kicking themselves. They have had a lot of chances in this game. Two men on with nobody out twice. We have the bases loaded once. And still being blanked into the 6th. Carl's 2-2. And it's full.
Good thing he didn't swing. There's Jan Marinez.
Your favorite guy. Might have to repeat my new line for 2017.
That would be?
We've had more full counts than at a vampire banquet. I'll keep working on it. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Here's one to work on.
Okay.
The Pirates trivia for you. There are 3 Pittsburgh Pirates in the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. There are 3 who played in the decade of the 2000s that are in the top 10 in home runs. But in the 2000s. Not necessarily 2000 to 2010, but from 2000 on. Let me phrase it that way.
Since 2000, there have been how many?
There are 3 players.
3 players.
You will find in the top 10 in Pirate history in home runs.
Career?
Career.
In the top 10 all-time Pirate home run hitters.
Yes.
I've done it since 2000.
Correct.
That was a convoluted question.
Well, they've played. No, they might not have accumulated all those home runs in the 2000s, but they were active during the 2000s for the Pirates.
Top 10. Is McCutchen in the top 10?
Yeah, he's number 4 all time.
Brian Giles?
Brian Giles is number 7.
Is the last one the hardest one, or?
I would say yes.
Okay. Ooh. I have a guess. Usually my gut is right. Kevin Young?
No, but that's an outstanding guess. He just falls just outside the top 10.
Right.
He's number 11
okay.
in the all-time list.
Can you tell me how many homers this guy hit as a Pirate?
139.
Neil Walker?
No.
Okay.
This player is no longer active. He was a Bucko from 2003 to 2008. He may or may not say A if you ask him a question.
Oh, Jason Bay.
Correct, sir. Yep. Jason Bay is number 9 on the list.
Who's first, Clemente? Oh,
Stargell.
Stargell. Okay. Clementi's where?
3. Kiner. Stargell, Kiner, Clemente, McCutchen, Bonds, Parker, Giles, Frank Thomas, the other one.
I didn't realize
Bay.
McCutchen was already that.
Yeah, he's got 191.
Got a pinch hitter here in the pitcher spot. Jose Osuna, who had 3 outfield assists last night in Philadelphia. They want his bat to do the work here.
And the great irony, of course, he was removed for defensive purposes late in the ball game. Called upon to pinch hit a lot. He has not had success. Just 2 out of 22 as a pinch hitter.
Daniel Hudson has joined Marinez in the bullpen. Mercer, the runner at first. Osuna swings and misses. Strike 3. Both outs have been strikeouts here for Edwards this inning. And that will be his final pitch. As Joe Maddon's going to make a double switch.
Take a large cheese, side salad.
Pitching change.
And a Strop.
Pedro Strop coming in. They'll be right back.
And up to the first 5,000 early arriving kids 13 and younger will receive a Cubs projection nightlight presented by MasterCard. After the game, the first 1,000 kids 13 and younger will have the opportunity to run the bases, weather permitting. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
Strop and Contreras, a new battery. Ooh.
sir.
Just got back in time.
Wilson letting everybody know, yep, I'm in the game.
Want to know on Adam Frazier.
Stroke worked a couple days ago against Tampa. A perfect 7th inning, 3 up, 3 down, outstanding, really sharp. A ground out to the punch out.
Mercer will advance.
Pass ball, didn't it? I don't think it was in the dirt. No, wild pitch. One's on Wilson for me.
Three and one. Another full count. The banquet table.
Put a pretty good charge in it last time. Deep fly ball out to right center. Hayward was able to track it down.
Line foul out of play to left.
These are guys hit for a high batting average throughout his minor league career. Uses the whole field.
To Anthony Rizzo. Stroke covering the bag. They kept him off the board through 6. It's the Cubs 3 and the Pirates nothing. Field, the Cubs suggest taking public transportation. The Cubs offer a free bike check located near the Addison Red Line station. For drivers, the Cubs provide remote parking. It's free, and shuttle service on night and weekend games. For information, visit the A to Z guide on Cubs.com. Third pitcher for the Pirates is Jan Marinez.
33rd appearance for the right-hander. He's 0-3 with a 4.23 earned run average. He's allowed 46 hits in 38 1/3. That's a 301 batting average against. It's to sink his fastball. He'll also throw four-seamer, slider, and a changeup.
His major league debut with the Marlins back in 2010.
Spent a little time with the White Sox. Bounced around a handful of different organizations.
Tampa Bay, Milwaukee. I want to know major league record for a player, most teams, fewest games. So Marinez, 5 big league teams, and this is his 85th career appearance. Got to be a relief pitcher probably on that list.
Well, the Pirates claimed him off waivers from Milwaukee earlier this year, and he spent time with both the Pirates and Brewers last year. He's kind of been shuttling back and forth between these two clubs.
Dribbler is fouled.
I was contemplating Dylan Floro earlier today with all his up and downs this year. And, you know, it seems like there's always that guy or two in every club who's on that shuttle back and forth between AAA and the big leagues. We had, you know, Matt Caesar did it, Brian Schlitter, a number of relief pitchers over the years. But Floro's, is this the 4th time? Is this the 3rd time, right?
I'll tell you in a moment. Let's see. 5th.
This is his 5th recall this year.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's on a record pace.
Cervelli again going into his boxing pose. Hit in the mask.
And the other thing about Dylan, this is his 5th recall, so he's been here 4 times before. He's only pitched in 2 ball games.
That's a base hit. Contreras leads off the Cubs 6th with a solid single. Day for Ben from the leadoff position. 2 for 3 with a run scored. 13th time he has led off this season. One of 8 Cubs to do it. Been 1 for 13 off the DL before today. Charged by Mercer. They get 1. They get 2. A 6-4-3 double play.
Yeah, nicely done here by the Pirates in the middle of the diamond. Very quick turn by Frazier. Not a lot has happened quickly. This is a nice double play.
Bryant gave the Cubs the lead with his RBI triple in the 4th. That was followed by an Anthony Rizzo 2-run homer. Balls, no strikes. Down the stretch. Marinez to Bryant, 3-0.
Jake Arrieta tomorrow. He's 8-6 with a 4.33. Ivan Nova for the Pirates. He's 8-6 with a 3.24.
So the all-star replacements you mentioned, Cano, Chris Archer, the Astros Chris Davinsky, Brandon Kinsler from the Twins, Roberto Osuna with the Blue Jays, Justin Upton of the Tigers, and Alex Wood. That is deep. It is gone to the back of the bleachers. What a blast by Bryant.
That was a big fly. Talk about launch angle. There's your Ford home run replay. Single, triple, home run now for Chris Bryant this afternoon. Towering blast. I believe we got Street.
Ford home run replay. Rizzo and Bryant have both homered today. That was a little statement as I was reading off the All-Star editions. So Alex Wood got in. His teammate Clayton Kershaw, pitching on Sunday, will not be able to pitch. And StatCast had to say about this bullet. It got out in a hurry.
Home run for Chris, his first one in a while, 12 games, June 22nd. 5 ABs or so.
Nothing, sixth inning.
I've read a lot of things about the Cubs having only one All-Star, and it's the first time ever that a defending World Series championship team did not send one of their players from the previous World Series team to the next year's All-Star game. It's also the first year the manager hasn't been able to pick any of the players. Right. So there would have been probably any number of instances of that in the past.
Wade Davis not on the team last year. He'll represent the Cubs. Chris Bryant makes it 4-0. He and Rizzo have gone deep in the same game now for the second time this year.
Baseball Live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long. With game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball.
Cubs 4, Pirates nothing, 7th inning. Twitter helping us out. Elliott chimes in. Tax Latimer, catcher, outfielder, first baseman. Played for 5 teams around the turn of the century. 27 games total. That's pretty good. Giants, Louisville, Pirates, the Baltimore Orioles, 1901 version, and then Brooklyn. A lot of teams, not a lot of games is the category. Zobrist makes the catch. Scott checks in. Jeff Juden, remember Jeff Juden, big right-handed pitcher.
Played with Jeff Juden.
Yeah, 8 teams, 147 games. Dana Evelyn, the left-hander, 187 appearances, 10 teams. That's a lot of teams. McCutchen's games have been as a Pirate.
Looks like that will continue to be the case. There were a lot of trade rumors swirling around him last year and early this season.
1,274 career contests in his first 9 seasons.
Touching a 5-time All-Star. Check that, 6-time All-Star. 2011 through 2015, each and every year he was there.
How many did you count?
6.
Try it again.
What is 5? I said 5, and then I got a little blurry-eyed looking at this screen. MVP in 2013. Finished 3rd twice and 5th once. And that's why everybody was scratching their heads over last year. I mean, an elite performer. He played last season at 29 years of age. So, you know, it'd be one thing if he was 34 and you saw a steep decline. You go, okay. You know. Kind of normal for a hitter to start to go into the decline in their 30s, certainly mid-30s.
Yeah, he had quite a run there. 2012. 2015, 126 OPS, 313 batting average, and a base hit through the hole. 3 for 4 is McCutchen. In the last 4 games, McCutchen has put up 3-hit performances. All right, so let's lay out the hypothetical scenario here, right? There are 6 games under 500. Let's say in 2.5 weeks they're 12 games under and 11 games out, and McCutchen just keeps blistering the baseball. What do you do if you're the Pirates brass?
Well, I would listen. I don't know how hard I would shop him. He's got what, he's under contract through 2018.
1 more year.
Would probably bring more value in the offseason than he would at the trade deadline. Teams tend to, look for lightning in a bottle with an arm at the trade deadline more than they do with a bat. So if you decided that you're going to tear down a little bit and rebuild, you might get your best offer in the offseason, unless some team suffers a catastrophic injury and just really need a high-profile bat.
Pass ball charged to Contreras. So next year the Pirates have a team option. McCutchen at 14.75. He's certainly in the last 5-6 years he's been way underpaid. Comparable to his production. Ground ball and a base hit. McCutchen had to hesitate. He's going to be sent to the plate. Might be a play on him. Here's a throw, and Bryant throws it away. Well, they had him. Joey Cora with a risky send there. So it's 4-1. RBI hit for Bell. He goes to second on the throwing error by Bryant. Once McCutchen held up, I did not think Cora was going to send him.
No, and not only does he hold up, but he waits a good long while before he gets started, and Cora just keeps on waving him home. The throw from the outfield causes Bryant to drift all the way over to the back of the pitcher's mound, so he loses his angle, and he doesn't have time to set his feet before making that throw home.
Chris Bosio head to the mound before Jaso bats. Try to calm the situation.
So that's 3 errors aside.
Koji Uehara is getting up in the Cubs bullpen.
Pretty aggressive ascend down 4 runs.
Hey, dear. Yeah, man.
Well, 4-0 felt pretty comfortable, but all of a sudden a hit or two and it's not nearly as comfortable. One-0 count to Jaso. Here's the pitch. It's wide. Nope, it's a strike. Good call by Gary Cederstrom. Or I jumped the gun. I'm going to blame myself. Sorry, Gary. It's me, not you. Dexter Fowler off the DL. He's been activated by the Cardinals. Missing 12 games with a spur in his right heel. Outfielder Jose Martinez has been optioned for AAA Memphis. They're hosting the Mets this weekend.
So appears to be seeing it pretty well here today. A couple of walks and a line out. swing there on 3-1.
Rizzo's got it. Little hesitation, but stroke to the bag. 3-1. 2 outs. And it brings up Polanco. And Bell now at third. I've got us over 280 pitches in this ball game. We're in the top of the 7th. Feels like a lot. Strokes 1-1 out in the left center, and it's Schwarber to end the Pirates' 7th. They get 1. Cubs lead 4-1. It's time now for the Mazda 7th inning stretch.
For this afternoon stretch, please direct your attention to the outfield video boards.
All right. Let me hear you. Good and loud. On 1, on 2, on 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Oh, it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Pirates getting their first run. Cubs lead by 3. 1.5. Looks at a strike.
Line out, solid single, ground out, stole a bag.
guy that sang the stretch, he's got a chance to be pretty good. Good pipes, a lot of energy, charismatic. What a great addition having
Carabini.
Yeah, having Harry on the big board on many occasions.
He would have had some fun with Caratini, wouldn't he?
He would have. One for 3 with a steal.
Could be a loud noise coming here if he challenges him.
Oh, leadoff walk.
Accept the walk, right? Hitters count. You want to do damage, but no need to expand. Take the base.
Double to right. Schwarber is last time up. Ball 1. Two more this weekend, and then the All-Star break. Rudy mentioned Arrieta Nova tomorrow night. Lester Tyone Sunday afternoon and high noon. Big time moment is powered by Xfinity. Something I ate as a child. Here's the double. In a nice count this time. 2-0.
He's doing a double take. Cedarstrom has been pretty consistent not calling that low ball, and those appear to be off the plate, or down I should say. He's been a little generous off the corner, but
back-to-back walks.
Well, that was really the key to success for the Pirates early on. The innings in which they walked guys and kicked the ball around, the Cubs didn't score. When they stopped doing that, the Cubs started scoring. So, hey, here comes Ray Searage.
Two on, nobody out.
Confer with Cervelli a little bit and then deliver a message to the pitcher.
We counted up the base runners. I might need to do that. We've got 15 hits combined. 9 walks combined. But,
handful of reaches on air, or 2 or 3 at least.
Got a hit batter, Harrison. It's a lot. I'm going to go with a lot.
You need a catcher's interference.
Here we go. Hayward takes outside, ball 1. No? Strike 2.
We used to talk about, and we'd see it. You see it still from time to time with certain hitters, the premeditated swing. I think Gary, that was just, he was guessing strike there.
The 0-1. Did Bell catch it? He did. Double play. Schwarber's convinced he's safe. Just lucky that wasn't a triple play. And so now Joe might be wondering, can I challenge 2 parts?
I think he was safe. I'm going to imagine he kind of just want to challenge the play. Did he catch it? And did he beat him to the bag?
Well, the thing is, if he didn't catch it, then what?
Yeah. Then you have to.
Right, because everybody's stopped.
Right, yeah.
This could be.
This is where replay gets real prickly. But I'm guessing he's challenging the double play at first base.
Or might just want clarification, right?
Yeah, as to what he can challenge and what would be the outcome if. It's kind of what this game needed.
I agree.
Long, perplexing question.
Joe is, challenging the play. Schwarber and Bell came together.
And it looked like Kyle beat him to the bag. It was close. I think he got his hand there before Bell did. Catches clean. Races on. 2 big guys going headlong towards the bag. And the hand beats the glove.
Would you like a beverage, sir? You need a diet soda? Are you good?
How about an Arnold Palmer?
Okay. I got an Arnold Palmer for the analyst. Remember, the Pirates got in around 1:30 this morning. They had a night game last night in Philadelphia. I guess Clint Hurdle does not have big plans tonight.
No.
Yeah, I thought I couldn't tell. You seemed more convinced he was safe.
I thought he was.
I didn't see out or safe. I saw I don't know. Okay, so there's the first out. I mean, it looks almost simultaneous to me.
I guess
you see hand first?
I saw hand first. You know, Bell's glove is in a little lower position. Does it brush the corner of the bag before Kyle got there?
I saw inconclusive. They did too. So all of a sudden the inning's over. And the fans not happy. 4-1 Cubs after 7.
at eclicklending.com. eClick is located right here in Chicagoland and rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Your mortgage just happened.
Zobrist goes from second to left. Baez comes in and plays second after pinch hitting. Koji Uehara looks over on the mound.
Koji for the 32nd time, 2-4 with a 293 earned run average. Out to better than a man per inning. 29 punch-outs, 10 walks, 27 2/3. So you get a couple short starts. You ask a little bit more out of your guys from the pen. Edwards with an inning and 2/3 today. Strop an inning and a third. CJ allowed no hits, no runs, a couple of walks, 3 strikeouts. Strop allowed 2 hits, a run. It was unearned due to the pass ball. No walks, no strikeouts.
Cervelli, Mercer, and a pinch hitter. Top of the zone strike. That's the fastball. Splitter usually at the bottom line or below on the box on pitch cast. Ideally. Cervelli getting his steps in.
Elevated, invisible.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
The Bayou at 87. Spin rate. Hitter swinging under that ball all day long.
Jordy Mercer. That's an inside corner fastball. 41-294. The paid crowd today. You see the Cubs improved to 2-2 on the homestand. Zobrist with a sliding snag for out number 2.
Good swing by Mercer. Nice break on that ball by Zobrist and left.
Switch hitting Max Moroff will pinch hit. Bat left-handed.
He's been more off than on, hasn't he?
You wouldn't want to be more on, would you?
Good point. He was on big time down at AAA in the International League. 13 home runs, second in on base plus slugging at .954, third in slugging percentage.
Ball out in the deep left center. Ian Happ with a soft landing. An 8-pitch, 8th inning. How about that for efficiency?
don't forget, right now and during every CSN Cubs game, we are streaming live. So if you're stuck at work or on the go and want to watch the game, head to csnchicago.com or download the NBC Sports app presented by State Farm. Antonio Bastardo came off the DL recently, and prior to going on the DL, he really struggled. He's pitched in 8 ball games. He's allowed runs in all but one of them. 14.63 ERA for the veteran left-hander. Looking for a reset.
Bastardo to Russell. 0-1. Russell reached on an error in the second. Line to the warning track in the fourth. Line to center in the fifth.
Yeah, he's hit the balls hard, harder than anybody here today. Save perhaps Bryant, but he's got nothing to show for it.
Pirates version of Wilson Contreras, who's on deck, by the way, for the Cubs. 1-2. Foul tip, strikeout. This year, the battle for the Crosstown Cup begins at Wrigley Field. The Sox travel north to play the Cubs for 2 day games, July 24th and 25th. Make sure you're here. One of the most popular series of the year. Tickets are still available. Get them while they last. Visit Cubs.com for tickets today. Wilson 1 for 1. In the catch in the 6th, singled in the bottom of that inning. And that Schwarber play at first stands, so New York had it as inconclusive. Close play, Bell and Schwarber.
Yeah, so to that end, I agree. Well, once the call was made, it was awfully difficult to overturn it. But I wish they would do that more often. It seems to me they take a long time to look at certain plays that, you know, after 30 seconds, you should be able to determine, you know what, man, that's just too close. We got to let it stand.
I think there was also a little bit of an illusion that, you know, Schwarber's hand was really close to the bag, but his fingers were not quite on it.
Yeah, it might have bounced a little bit.
Yeah. And again, I would have called safe if you could just say safe or out, but it's got to be definitive, and I don't think it was. Might not matter. Cubs hope it doesn't. Leading by 3 late.
Yeah, I don't know how you put a scale on which plays deserve a longer. Obviously, home run or no home run, those kinds of calls. Possible extra base hit into the corner, fair foul. But it seems that if there was a way to weight some of these calls, where this one we're going to take as long as we need to take, or some of these other calls, if we don't see conclusive evidence to overturn within 30 seconds, then
well, 2 minutes is generally what they're trying to hold themselves to.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking
You think that like the 2-minute thing should be, that's it? Once you get 2 minutes,
I think
you're done. You don't get 3.
I would say I would argue less. I think these bang plays like this, the call's been made.
Okay.
We want to challenge. Okay, we're going to take a look. We're going to look at 3 replays as quickly as possible. Are we convinced that the call we made was wrong? No. Boom. Move on. Play.
I'm cool with that. That would subtly help the pace of game question. Hit hard by Zobrist, and they will not have a chance at 2. He is thrown out by Mercer. Contreras is now at second for Chris Bryant, who is a double away from the cycle. This is doable. Hefty home run time. The Cubs have banged 2 today. Rizzo in the 4th.
And laser followed by a towering home run.
Last cycle for a Cub, Mark Grace, 93, against the Padres, I believe. Outside for a ball. Here's the closer. Right now, it would be a save chance in the 9th.
Three or 4 years ago, when Anthony really struggled against left-handed pitching, this would be an easy decision for Clint Hurdle to go ahead and put Brian on, especially now that the count has gone 2-0. But that was then, and this is now, and Anthony Rizzo is good against everybody.
Two and one. This bizarro game has got to include a cycle. What we watched in the first 3 innings, right?
It would be fitting.
Got to have some history made. A couple of hits here or there. This could have been like a 7-6 ball game after 3, right? It was nothing.
Yeah, the fact that it's 4-1 is just kind of mind-boggling.
2-2 pitch. It's full, 3-2. Does not have to give in. It's got a base open. Also got some cool hair working. Fly ball deep center. Home run, Chris Bryant.
I see your cycle, and I raised it 2 bases. He's the big fella.
Done that a couple of times here early in his career. Did it in Cincinnati last year. Yeah, who needs a double? Just hit the home run. 6-1.
Yeah, you might have to slide on a double. Why slide when you can jog? Be shaping up to be a very big weekend for Chris Bryant. Head rate on it. Bye-bye.
4 for 5. Triple homer, 4 knocked in. He's got 18. Rizzo has 20. Thing of beauty. Right against the wind.
Stardo gets Rizzo here. The second guessers will be all over Glenn Hurdle. How can you pitch to Bryant there with a left-handed hitter next?
Two to Rizzo. Stardo deals. Lifted to left. Jaso's got it. We'll head to the ninth. It's now 6-1 Cubs. Ian Happ moves over to the left. Albert Almora Jr. now playing center. And the closer, Wade Davis. Again, a non-save spot. His team has a 5-run lead.
He's got a tough act to follow because Koji had a 3-up, 3-down inning. And I believe that's the only one in the entire ball game.
Yes.
Well, the All-Star to finish it off here in the ninth.
Top of the order for the Pirates. And ball one to Frazier. Will represent the Cubs in the All-Star game. Ground ball gloved by Bryant. Out number one. Davis, the first Cub reliever to be an All-Star. To go back 9 seasons, Carlos Marmol and Kerry Wood. 2008. His all-star teammate now digging in. That's Josh Harrison. This works from the stretch. 1 strike. Harrison, Ian Happ, University of Cincinnati product. It's interesting, he gets hit by all these pitches, but it's not like he stands really close to the plate. Been hit 20 times already. Hitting one earlier this afternoon.
Because he does stand so far off the plate, he has to dive a little bit to cover the outside part of the plate. So when they throw him that runner in, it's difficult for him to react and get out of the way.
So I want one of McCutchen's bats. He's got a better day than I have.
Those are working a lot better.
And again, this is the kind of day where you got to have the bat delay too.
Cedarstrom's like a school principal today, running out to the mound. Now he's chasing Harrison down back to the dugout. Let's go, fellas.
One and two. Make it 2-2.
He's had a nice career. Broke in 2011. Lifetime .283 batter. Gives you a little power, not a lot. Gives you speed, not a ton, but versatile.
Hayward reaches the warning track. And the Cubs are an out away from getting back to 500. McCutchen, 3 hits. Batting average up to .295. Pitch is up and in. Ball 1. That is an Andrew McCutchen slash line. What we saw early in the year. Edwards likely would get the win in relief. Butler could not get through 5. Williams will be on the hook for the loss for the Pirates. 2-2.
Looking for a little retribution this weekend. Pirates came in here back in April and swept a 3-game set.
Got to end on a full count too.
Since played a couple of series in Pittsburgh, and the Cubs have won those. 2 out of 3 late April and 2 out of 3 mid-June. Run the sinker in under his hands, and he was able to fight it off, get just a little piece, stay alive.
Ball 4. Fourth reach for McCutchen. And it brings up Bell.
That's the other thing you see from McCutchen when he's going well. Very little chase out of the zone.
Down the right field line, but it's foul out of play. 0-2 to Josh Bell. Swing and a miss. Cubs win. Cubs win. It was not the most crisply played game, but once they got the bats going in the 4th inning, they pulled away. 6-1 the final.
Yeah, somewhat ironic in that they had all those chances. First 3 innings, couldn't cash it in, and then the big 4th inning starts with 2 quick outs. So 2 outs, nobody on. They go single, triple, home run to get it started, and then play add-on through the late innings of this game. Chris Bryant, huge day today. Couple of home runs, triple, single. Rizzo goes deep. Good work by the bullpen. Kyle Schwarber gets his first knock since returning, a double into the right field corner. Folks endured a long day at the ballpark, but they get to sing and dance.
The toast of the game is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot, and the winner is Chris Bryant.
A triple into the left field corner to score the first run of the ball game. And he does what he do. Waveland, perhaps, and then 424 more towards straightaway center field. Home runs number 17 and 18 for Chris.
Binny's Beverage Depot is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs, and our On the Diamond interview is presented by James and Sons Fine Jewelers. Kelly.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, Chris, kind of a bizarre start to this game, certainly a lengthy one. You had to know the cycle watch was on for you. How much were you thinking double in that last at bat?
Honestly, I had no clue. I wasn't thinking that. I mean, I got in the dugout and they said you should have just stopped the second, but I'll take a home run over the cycle any day.
Certainly, 2 home runs today, a 4-for-5 afternoon. You had said to us before the game that you felt like your at-bats were getting a lot better as of late. Were you anticipating a day like today?
Yeah, sometime soon. I mean, it had been a while, so I really needed that to feel good about myself, and really good win for the team. I mean, bad defense early on, but we were able to come through and turn around in the second half of the game.
One of the things Madden had said is really no two guy has been hot at the same time this season. You look at what maybe you're trending in that way, and with Rizzo, how quickly can this turn around for the guys once that happens?
Well, I mean, real quick. I mean, we did it last year. I mean, it's nice to have, 2 or 3 guys clicking at the same time, and usually they can carry a team. But, right now it seems, I mean, it was a great game today. Hopefully I can turn it around, certainly with a game like this, and, turn this season around for us.
So appreciate it. Enjoy the win, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, this is a good one. Chris and his wife Jess actually have tickets to Hamilton tonight, so he's a little worried that this 4-hour-plus game might hinder getting to the performance tonight.
He got the 2
How about
tickets
that?
that JD
He must
missed
have won
out
the
on.
lottery
Yep.
that I was going for.
And KB gets a gift card courtesy of James and Sons Fine Jewelers. You got to know some people, JD. Come on. So for JD, for Kelly, and our entire CSN crew here at Wrigley Field, Len Casper with your final. Cubs 6, Pirates 1. Friday, July 14th, we will join you again. Going out of the All-Star break, we'll be in Baltimore. We'll have crab cakes, and we'll have Cubs-Orioles action, 5:30 for our pregame coverage. Stay tuned. More to come. Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cubs post-game live is next.